Good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me, Richard and Gareth. Yes, we've come from Guildford, where we run a monthly night on the third Tuesday of each month called Pop-Up Poetry. It's quite similar to this, really. We have features and we have open mics, 5-minute open mics, and we have a great time every month. The other thing we do is, if you read at Pop-Up Poetry, you get offered a poem in our book. Once a year, we offer people who've ever read to contribute. Now, the anthology this year, it's the second anthology, the third year. This year, it's a half as big a game because we've had so many people contributing. So we will probably limit it a little bit next year, but I'm right in the middle of editing it now and it's looking good, very good. We've got 4 of these with us if anybody wants to, well, have a look anyway. And if you wanted to buy one, they're going cheap at £5 now, so because they're last year's. The other news is, it's our anniversary, Donal and mine. We've been together for 6 years exactly on this day. Yes, and it was a very hot July, just like this, in 2008 when we got together. I've got a poem, it's not about us meeting, it's about me finding a poet called Robert Hass, who is an American, a Californian, and I just fell in love with his poems. I had all of his poems, collected poems, going right back to goodness knows when, and there are some in there I really love. This is a letter, a thank you letter, to Robert Hass. Dear Robert Hass, thank you for the white egret, and for the colours of California where you dream your life awake. I slept after you told me about the boy with the gun. Afterwards I woke, poised between Donald's hand and my own, where they interlaced across the space between our sleep-numbed bodies. My foot hooked under his, my head nested next to his open, dreaming mouth. My breast under his warm palm, his breath on my calm fingers. I hope to see you again sometime when I have woken up some more. Thank you. This is a total change of mood. Of course, I have been married before, and I avoided divorce. I'm going to tell you how to avoid divorce. I've been a true and faithful wife to every husband that I've had. I've promised to devote my life through thick and thin, through good and bad, but only while this rule applies. What I decide shall be, shall be. And there a problem lies. When Johnny led me up the aisle and with a manly, loving smile agreed that he would have and hold me, I loved him then, but they never told me I'd have to iron 8 shirts a week. And when I ventured, could we speak about this imposition on my valuable time, dear John insisted this was what he meant when opting for the sacrament. As a blunt instrument, the iron was great. John's status quickly changed to late. My second love was handsome Dave. Before we married, he would rave about the cute and charming way I spent our weekends, how I lay in bed, expecting cups of tea and tasty meals to come to me. 1 week past our honeymoon, I found that Dave had changed his tune. Get up, he said, and get me bacon, eggs, and toast. Come on, you do have legs. I went downstairs. I laid a tray. I brought Dave's last meal up that day. I even brought an appetizer, grapefruit, laced with fertilizer. Sliced thinly chopped and barbecued, he flushed quite neatly down the loo. My third attempt at wedded bliss began so well. We loved to kiss and cuddle at all times of day and let no chores get in our way. His name was Lee, a gorgeous man. But soon I noticed he began to nag me to pick up my clothes where I had dropped them, held his nose and told me, "This house is disgusting. Don't you ever do the dusting?" I got a broom I hit him hard. He's buried out there in the yard. An optimist, I tried and tried again. I made a blushing bride. But number 4 is pushing daisies. Gardening, the man was crazy. And when it came to number 5, his weakness showed up on a drive. When I went through red traffic lights, he rudely said that wasn't right. When he checked underneath the bonnet, I found the accelerator, stepped on it and drove him into paradise. I know, it wasn't nice. So now I'm in an awful fix. I need to find mate number 6. I think perhaps a poet will be what I need, for would I kill a man who sings and rhymes to me? Armando. But one proviso, he should be my greatest fan. He mustn't ever criticise my writing, or my sharp pen between his eyes will send him up to husband heaven, and then I'll have to look for number 7. Thank you. But of course, looking for these husbands did take a bit of effort, and I even had to go on the internet. I wrote a poem about it. Here it is. You say you feel that we've already met, and yet I haven't seen your face in truth. After all, your photo on the internet may be a relic of your far-off youth, and I cannot understand you half as much from your texting as I would do from a touch. And if you tell me lies, I can't check it from your eyes or the subtle movements of a restless hand. And is your BO a delight? Would I hurry from your sight if you hadn't put some root on as we sat upon my futon? Over coffee, in a cafe of my choice, would I find that I'm enamoured of your voice? Or would its grating tone make me wish I was alone? Face to face, and so completing our relationship, a test that might not turn out for the best. For I fear that what is sauce for the gander is of course for the goose an equal trial, and perhaps you'd find me vile. Virtual meeting of the minds is a meeting of a kind, but to meet you face to face, even in a public place, would be very much more fun. But of course it can't be done, I suppose. Thank you. There are couples that do very well for so many years. My parents were like that. They had their ups and downs. And I don't think they really ever meant to split up, although there were occasions. And there was a time when they were discussing their retirement, possibilities of retirement. And this is how it went. When I grow old, said my mother, I'll change my life. I'll rent a garret on the left bank of the Seine in Paris. Give up being a mother and a wife. Spend my days painting. Drink red wine all night. My friends will be artists. Maybe I'll write. But what about Dad? I objected. My mother reflected. He'll be okay, she said. He'll buy a jalaba, sandals, a scarab, and live in the desert, along with the Arabs. He's learning the lingo at evening class. He'll go over to Gaza. Gaza wasn't like that then. I thought, what a gas. I'll spend April in Paris, winter with Dad. There was going to be some fun to be had. I hoped that my parents' dreams all would come true. But after all that, they just moved down to Bude. How am I doing for time?
5 more minutes.
Right. I'm going to read you a poem about animal psychology. Complete non sequitur. Wanderlust is not uncommon among hamsters since they first perfected travelling on wheels. Schadenfreude is a trait that some rabbits, 1 in 8, will admit to, with vicious little squeals. Claustrophobia is a problem for the ferret, because travelling in trousers makes him sick. Hysteria is found in many moles underground, so they have to dig their tunnels very quick. Glaukenstücke is what every goldfish feels when it knows it has been revelling too much in the sufferings of flatfish who've been bullied by the catfish or the battered cod the cats won't even touch. Aphasia can be fatal in a parrot. Dyspraxia affects 1 snake in 3. Guinea pigs who can't relax get mild panic attacks, but respond quite well to water therapy. Thank you. I'm going to... I've put all my papers out the border, I'm so sorry. I'm going to end with another letter. It's a letter to God. Dear God, this salutation is not a passing exclamation of impatience that you must be tired of hearing from down here. No, this is serious, a letter of complaint. I'll make my meaning absolutely clear. To start with, there's your name. Why do you have so many? And when anybody calls, you're mostly incommunicado. Where do you go when things hot up? When everybody claims you? From Harare to Nantucket, from Iraq to Timbuktu? I don't blame you when you hide, but please, would you let them know you don't take sides, and there will be no Houris, no Valhalla, no heaven, no Elysium. Just tell them, make the most of breathing while you can. And those damned angels, get a grip. Nuke all those rebels down in hell. Why should we be the battlefield where your old scores are settled? If that's your rationale for making us on earth, I know you are a sadist. And tell me this, why let us know our lives are sometimes brutal, always short? Why tell us so? That death will come to end us just as we start to understand our lives. Ignorance is bliss. Why reveal the truth? But see above for my theory on this. I know what you will reply. You can't help it. You can't fix it. It's not your fault. You didn't do it. You can't be held responsible. You don't exist. But that's not true. Because we created you. Yours unfaithfully, Janice Windle. Thank you.